guest today on the 525 Records podcast, Less Cash, a rock band out of Portland, Oregon. You're listening to their title track off their 2014 album called Scenery. God, that fucking song rocks. Less Cash, welcome to the 525 Records podcast. The members are Mark Breitenbach. He's the frontman. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
John Rasmussen. He is the incredible drummer. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And last but not least, holding down the bass guitar is Mr. Seth Gibson.
I'm the replacement bass player.
Yeah.
That's true. We should dive into that right away. Alpha Rasmussen, who happens to be John Rasmussen's sister, was the original bass player in Less Cash. She's actually who you heard on that track, not only playing bass, but singing backup vocals. Hopefully we'll have a call-in appearance from her later in the episode, but we don't know yet. It's a roll of the dice.
That's fitting. You're from Vegas. I see what you did there.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
All right. You're right. Sorry.
Come on, man.
We're talking today. It's November the 7th. Joe Biden has just been elected president. Woo-woo. Clap or you fucking die.
Don't hurt me, Bo Biden.
Don't enslave me, Kamala. How do you guys feel about the Biden presidency?
I feel great about it. I was happy my guy won.
Yeah,
That's who I was rooting for.
it's anybody but the current or the
Trump is a fucking
the prior.
My mom called me earlier today. She was super excited, and she was just happy that she could tell her grandchildren that you don't win if you're a liar, and you don't win if you're a bully, and that there are real ramifications for human decency and or the lack thereof.
Well put, Sandy.
Yeah.
But how long was this week waiting 4 or 5 days for the results
For
to
this
pour
podcast.
in?
Oh, for that presidency. It was a long week.
Yeah, I'll say it sped up the last couple of days. Those first couple of days were a little dicey.
Yeah, that's true.
Watching it seem to slip
I
through the fingers was a little excruciating.
I did go to bed on Tuesday a little unsure.
Absolutely. I didn't get to bed till 1 in the morning on Tuesday. I could not. I couldn't look away.
But at a certain point, it became like, well, there's no point in staying up to watch what's not going to happen.
Yeah, eventually they said,
they were like,
we'll have some more votes released in about 45 minutes. At that point, it was about 1 in the morning.
Right,
So I was like, am I going to stay up till 1:45 to see something move, to see the needle move ever so slightly?
Right, 5,000 more votes should.
Go to sleep, John.
Go to sleep, John.
And by the way, you know, I got hairy legs.
That's your president. Right there.
Yours too. Respect, Elt.
Listen, you clap for Joe Biden or you die.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Is this going to be the whole podcast? Are you going political on this podcast?
No, I'm gonna. Half of this is hitting the editing floor. So.
Elliot, again, it's not about who's president. It's about who's not president.
Right, that's true.
That's true. Yeah, but see, to me, it's a fascinating argument. Like, how far down that slope is one willing to slide?
Oh, very far. When you consider who the
like who is.
I mean, here's the real question: if Trump had called us and wanted to use scenery for his election song, what would we have said?
Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tom Petty had a song called "I Won't Back Down," and the Trump campaign famously used it against any kind of permission or copyright, and the Petty estate was not very happy about that.
Right.
And
I think that's happened with Neil Young had one of those.
And the Village People.
I feel like Fleetwood Mac had one of those, maybe.
I think I just pretend I didn't get it and let him try and use it and then sue him afterwards so that I could get money that way. Because I wouldn't feel comfortable about just giving him the song. Not just letting him even pay me outright to use it.
Mark versus Trump's 30 lawyers.
30? There's way more than 30.
I'm sorry, his 30-story building full of lawyers.
Mark Brockovich, that's me. I mean,
I see what you did there.
Mark Breitenbach, actually.
Mark.
Mark Breitenbach.
Mark and Breitenbach.
Aaron Brockovich.
I was trying really hard.
Trying to get there.
Couldn't get as close as Mark got. That was pretty good.
He was almost there. I like that the Markin came, John.
Well, speaking of Mark Breitenbach, he is the front man. He's also the main songwriter, I think that's fair to say, in Less Cash.
The only
songwriter in Less Cash.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Thanks,
guys.
Your fearless leader.
Why don't you do your research, dude?
We all go way back. There's nothing I don't know about Less Cash.
It's a Neil Peart situation. Mark's never written a lyric in his life. It's all me, baby.
I don't know if I'm jumping over anything here, but there was a little bit of a tug and pull. I don't think that's what I meant. There was a little bit of a
jacket on, jacket off.
There was a little bit of jacket on, jacket. There was a little tug of war because there was another band called Rasmussen that was going on.
Oh, Rasmussen, that just warms my heart to hear that name.
But there definitely was, Seth, you talk about how being in Texas, you were like, I heard these recordings out there and I was, missed it, felt a little homesick
Definitely.
or whatever. And so it was when I heard Rasmussen playing, I was always like, but Less Cash is first, right? Like I was always like, oh, there's a bit that I had an issue with. Not issue. Anyway, I love the Rasmussen.
I'm so glad you brought this up because it's something I forgot all about. When you were getting Less Cash together, this was the heyday of Rasmussen.
Yeah.
And you guys practiced at the same house. The 525 Studios.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a Purple Rain sort of competition between all the bands that were practicing in there. And I think everyone to a T would say that Rasmussen was like the band to beat. They were, but
it's definitely apples and oranges, and they're opposite ends of a spectrum where Rasmussen was pushing the threshold of what people would listen to. and Less Cash and Mark's songwriting is very straight Americana.
Yeah.
Super interesting, super fun, and good innovative stuff. But had that Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, straightforward, easy to listen to rock and roll. Whereas Rasmussen was challenging for a lot of people to listen to. It didn't have a common ear.
And it's about to be challenging for the audience to listen to right now.
We're on your side, John. Where we at?
Rasmussen was like a sound explosion. I'm the one that recorded that, and the reason why it's not the greatest recording is because it was a one mic in the middle of a room, and it's the only recordings of Rasmussen that exist, and I'm so proud that I was able to capture them. But this is what you were up against. I mean, this is what you had to listen to, and the problem was battling to get John to practice because he's in both bands, and now all of a sudden, if Rasmussen is practicing, well, that means Les Cash can't practice, and so it's this tug of war, and you guys are literally pulling John apart. And I would just like to say, before you jump into this, I've never seen John smile as big and as wide as when he was playing with Rasmussen. That was like, he was the most happiest camper I've ever seen in any of the bands that I've been playing with John.
I'm loving this fucking podcast so far. It's fantastic.
I would just like to say one thing.
Yeah,
go.
Please.
I recognize that song from Alpha Noise compilation, which is one of my favorite cassettes that my brother Kyle ever gave me when I was a sophomore in high school back in 1995. And that must have been early days of Rasmussen, because you can tell that Alpha and John are playing a song that they both know, and everyone else is adding on top of that.
It's a very good observation.
Been around for a long time.
But that was shelved for probably a decade before we played it again there. So me and
Did you guys do it with Pinka or not? Did you do it?
We did do that with Pinka, yeah. That was an Alpha original.
No, it's a fucking great song. That noise explosion in the middle is very cool. That was Mike and Jerry.
Greasy Jerry. Jerry, I love you, buddy. If you hear this.
With his jeans dripping off of him.
I've never met anyone more destined for rock stardom in my life. That guy was a gifted songwriter and
yeah, definitely
a very talented musician.
It's the Jerry podcast.
That's right. So glad you guys could tune in. We'll be back another day with the Jerry podcast, where we just talk about Les Cash the whole time.
This is the original Alpha Noise recording. So that was the early genesis of that song that you heard performed by Rasmussen. That was off a 4-track recording by Alpha Rasmussen titled Alpha Noise. I know we all have a copy, and it should be released soon on 525 Records. I'm ready to pull the trigger. We're just waiting on some final releases.
I want to stop and correct you on the pronunciation. The band was Rasmussen. The name is Rasmussen, so Alpha Rasmussen. The band Rasmussen.
I've been confused for years.
That was our stipulation, that it can't be pronounced Rasmussen. It has to be pronounced Rasmussen.
But only in the context of the band.
Yes. Yeah, the band name is Rasmussen.
However, if we're referring...
John's name is...
Rasmussen.
Right, Rasmussen.
Thank you.
And this is the intrigue.
I'm the only one with an easy name. You got Breitenbach, Rasmussen, and Gibson.
Seth Gibson.
Gibson.
That's pretty
I like that. I might change my name.
I remember all the local musicians, like people that bartended, people in the southeast area. They were very hip to Rasmussen, the band, and you guys practiced like hot fire. I mean, it was like 3 times a week. But the whole time this is going on, Les Cash is really just coming together as a group, almost in the same exact time and vein.
Yeah, no, at the same exact. I mean, to the point where I'm pretty sure we played at least one show together, where it was Rasmussen and Breitenbach. I mean, and Les Cash.
And the big problem from your standpoint was that you had 2 band members that were in both bands. Not only John Rasmussen.
It was the only other 2. Yeah, like if I didn't have them, it was just me playing by myself.
No rhythm section.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
you
just me.
also were in the Icanicants at the exact same time.
No, that's also
you
true.
had 2 bands
You're right.
with
I
2
was
different
cheating
members,
also.
and they had
We
one
both-
band.
And I won't bring up
That's a
our
good point.
fumes of jealousy towards the Icanicants.
Well, I must say,
Good, thanks, John.
I must say,
Right, we'll stay awake at night.
the Icanicants actually predated all of these bands. The Icanicants really started in 2010.
I don't know that you can prove any of that.
Well, I was the original bass player in the Icanicants. I don't know if you guys know this, I have recordings from 2010 which predate Les Cash and predate Rasmussen. We were jamming in the basement of Mark's house.
It always becomes the Elliot Cuts podcast. It was, we were playing in 2010, since you say it, we were. I don't remember the years. I think that you're right, though.
Well, I only know this because I just put out the Smokes and Icanicants
Yeah, he's the
live
ligature
record.
and the archivist.
That's true. Elliot is the archivist for all of this.
If you'll
It's pretty
recall,
amazing.
if you go to 525 Records, you'll see that the Icanicants played a show with Blue Skies for Black Hearts and the Smokes. It was a 3-band bill live at the White Eagle, September 4th, 2010.
There's a poster for it downstairs.
It is, yes, and it's also one of the more recent 525 Records releases.
Yeah.
So
and there's a poster for it downstairs.
But Rasmussen, we're talking 2013.
But more than that,
More to this poster that's downstairs of it. Yeah, Rasmussen. God damn it! You had to trip me up with this. They were playing together. We were practicing in the same household. Occasionally, it was often easier for me to come there than to get both of them out here to Vancouver. So we'd practice at the same house, and I remember getting there sometimes, and Rasmussen would be playing in the while I was standing outside in the rain.
I do remember at that time I was working 50 hours a week and was in at least 2 bands. I think about 2.5 if I counted the Lips That Touch Whiskey stuff with Elliot. So I was basically waking up, doing stuff for other people, and not having a moment to myself for weeks and weeks and months there for a while. It was a packed schedule.
I must say that practicing at the 525 house was much better because the alternative was practicing in a dark, dingy, damp basement, which, I mean, who really wants to play music in a basement?
Come down here in the basement.
It sucks. The fucking basement sucks.
All right,
and this was
be
the whole
honest.
point of the 525 house. Is the drums were in the living room. You go in the front door, you're looking at a drum set. There's no TV.
Yeah,
There's no living room.
windows. There's other rooms. There's windows.
My basement isn't dark or dingy. Don't find it either of these. I think that you're thinking of the house that you lived in, which was also 525, but down in that basement was dark and dingy. Was where you guys used to practice, right? Is that what you're referring
I'm
to?
referring to all dark and dingy basements, most notably your house on Gleason, right by Biddy McGraw's.
Okay, yeah, that was dark and dingy.
I'm also referring to Alpha's basement, which we practiced a number of times in at her old Milwaukee house, and just the propensity of bands to wind up in
basements. Well, because the noise is a lot better for neighbors. You can practice.
It's rare to have a space that isn't a basement.
Very true.
Or a garage or something like that.
Especially
Windowless box. The 525 was nice. You have windows. You have other rooms you see into. There's a constant flow of people.
Usually, not all your houses are roommate friendly with like having a drum set in their living room also. So that was pretty convenient.
Luxurious.
Lucky. Yeah, luxurious.
I guess that was magical about the 525 house. I will just say this, though, too. In Portland, there's a ton of basements, so you can have band practice in your basement. When in Austin, there's 0 basements, and people would actually go to rent storage units or other buildings where they could have band practice. They had to, because not everyone
could set it up
had a situation where they could play in the living room, you know.
Or Chicken Shift's weird out, or the house on the back of the property
trailer.
with earth moving equipment all over, and it was very strange.
The band White Denim recorded their first record in a trailer, at a ranch.
Yeah, sometimes dingy is fine.
Like
sometimes dingy
in a single wide trailer.
I think a lot of my songs were written downstairs in that dingy basement. So
I don't mind dingy basements.
Is that a metaphor for
my butthole?
No.
Oh no, sorry.
No, your psyche.
Oh yes, that is what it was a metaphor.
You know what though? John commented on it last month or month and a half ago. We've been rehearsing at my house down in Milwaukee, and then we come up here and get back down in that basement, and the bricks are all around.
Yes, the drums are live,
the floor is
ringing.
And playing down there, you get that very live sound,
It's
that
super
electric.
It's
like everyone's so loud,
it's kinda
but
like
the
playing-
reflections are crazy.
It's more like playing in a live venue, playing downstairs here, than it was like. And by a live venue, I don't mean like playing at like a Coliseum or something like that. I mean playing in like some dive bar where you're, there's a lot of there's a lot of walls that aren't muted, and there's slap back exactly, like, which is what get down to the basement downstairs. That is kind of, we don't have it your studio, but your studio is, that's the way it's made that way, so that when we record.
I was just going to say that, the basement is set up like a live venue. The studio over at the Gibson compound is it's set up as to capture sound, not to project sound, to capture sound.
Right. Sorry.
Maybe there's something to that.
There is.
Look at us. We have all the options at our fingertips. How fun is that?
That's true.
So what you're saying is I should construct a room next door to our
that's like a live
practice
venue.
space that's made out of cinder blocks.
Just cinder blocks covered in stainless steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. I like it.
With an electrified floor.
And then push mounds of dirt up against it. It doesn't have to be under the
Slowly
ground.
pour some water
Just
along the walls too.
Well, okay. No. Now you're getting specific.
Sorry, buddy.
Right. That's okay. It's not true.
I would love to know who came up with the name Less Cash. Who can we credit for that strike of genius?
Oh man, it was definitely something that came about during a practice, and I think it was a practice with the original 3, John and Alpha and myself. And Alpha and John were always riffing on stuff, and then I would just kind of latch onto something they'd say and point it out again. So I feel like Less Cash was definitely I don't know if you remember it differently, John, but I feel like it was something that we all 3...
Yeah, it felt organic, and all 3 of us were in on some kind of conversation about, not, I don't want to give too much to this, but it was a Les Claypool, Johnny Cash reference of some sort. That's all I remember about it, but it wasn't a direct comparison or analogous in any way to those guys. But
and Les Cash also sounded like a person's name, and so when there is a email that I never use, but when I initially started the Les Cash brand. And had to get a Gmail or whatever. It was Lester Cash Worthington III. It's the actual.
There's your band name.
It's the full email and that was something that Alpha and I and I think John was there too. We concocted like, oh, there's got to be some dude
wearing a monocle somewhere.
Right, exactly, and his name will be Lester Cash Worthington III. More credit goes to Alpha on that one. I'm pretty sure that sounds like an Alpha thing.
Wearing a monocle, has a driver.
So has a driver, chauffeur of some sort. Yeah. So yeah, Les Cash has had a lot of that there's a lot of plays that can be had with it. I've found, and so I really like that aspect of the name.
I'm gonna play you my favorite Les Cash song. It's called Ghost. It's off the 2014 album Scenery.
Just because I'm a ghost, mean I can't see, don't mean I don't feel. A little lighter than most. Hey, these legs, thing that I need, and I just say it wasn't worth all the time that I put in. I made a big mess of the love you were giving. Maybe the place or the faces I remember left a bad taste in my mouth since I left her. Oh, oh. And I can try to blend more. So I held my head off, night at the door. And you, in love with you always. And when you leave me, well, I always want more. And I just say I wanna give it up. Try to stay up all night. I'll be beside you, gone in the light. And I'll sit on the give it up and make the mess. And we can still be friends with me. Just wait until then. And all the hills on the world, the times are all the mess. And so I go along with all of my shit. It's making you sad. And it's just because what I said, when I said you should think of the love you deserve and forget. I'm never wasting my breath and my head's in the bed. With all my regrets in my mouth when I left her. Oh, oh.
That song in particular, that was Alpha on bass, also singing backups, and it's definitely my favorite song. I would dare to say it's the best Les Cash song I don't know, Seth, how do you feel?
I love that song, and again, when I got the recording from Mark and when I was in Austin, I was like, "Oh shit, this song is fucking rad."
That's exactly what I thought when I first heard it. Oh shit!
But I had a question about the recording. Were there 2 guitar tracks you recorded there? Because in the headphones, there was a left and right, and they seemed like different takes almost, or like one side was like more of attack of like a finger individual string picking, or like.
I did do two guitar takes, but also Elliot is on that track as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Who, me?
Elliot, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought he was only on the Run the Jewels song.
No, he's on
Why
that.
do you think it's his favorite?
There were a couple guitar takes, and then as well, Elliot doing guitar on it.
The vast majority of heavy lifting in terms of guitar on that record is done by Mark Breitenbach, the frontman of Les Cash. Really remarkable job. Really well recorded.
Well recorded is also done. Yeah,
A great album.
The engineer dialed it in. It was. I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. Mike Vasquez is a phenomenal engineer, and he did a great job with this record. So I was blown away when I first heard it.
It does. It sounds a lot better than the setup would lead you to believe that the final product was gonna, turn out. It was pretty. We're running a snake from the house out to basically kind of a shack out on the property.
Outdoors.
Kind of semi-open air. It felt like
I mean,
literally
windows,
like an outbuilding on this property.
Yeah.
The snake from the exterior building ran into the house, but it ran outdoors.
Right.
Which, whenever it rained.
Yeah, that was a dilemma.
It was I mean, it was set up and torn down that day. It wasn't a snake that lived in that stretch there.
But having been out there once to do some guitar tracks and seeing how you guys recorded those drums, it sounds a million times better than it looks.
Than what you would expect from what was going on out there, which is, I mean, a testament to his ability to capture sound in that environment is awesome.
And as a mixing too. Sorry, because the mix on it is great and it's never been mastered. It's still not mastered.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up because 525 Records should be re-releasing Scenery from Les Cash any day now. Look for it out there. It should
Check is in the mail.
fully distroed.
I will just say, and you don't have to put this in the podcast, but the reason I recommended Mike Vasquez to Mark was because I knew him from Austin, and he had very recently moved up to Portland. And before he had done so, I was actually interning at his studio, and I went to school at the Recording Conservatory of Austin, and then he had Sweatbox Studios, which had been in Austin for 15 or 20 years in various iterations. They had burned down once down there, and many partners were involved in that studio, but he always had local legends recording there, and I knew he was a quality engineer and he could make good sounding records, which is why I was like, hey, maybe try this guy out, because I know he makes good fucking rock records in Austin. Can we just get back to Mark's vocals and then draw in a little sample of a recent Les Cash song?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Alpha,
let's hear
because there's so many fucking golden moments where they're very poignant. I've listened to them and been moved. I really have, buddy.
Thank you.
Swear to God.
We definitely should listen to a recent Les Cash song, one that features Mr. Seth Gibson on the bass guitar. This is a song called "This Is Love" by Les Cash, featuring Seth Gibson on the bass guitar, performed live at Maple Lane Studios. Here we go.
Showing up as much. On the dial, it's
It crapped out, dude.
I think you stepped on the cable.
No, it was not, dude. Yeah, I definitely stepped on the cable, and that's why the bass drops out on that song. But man, what a great fucking song. That is Les Cash. The song is called This Is Love. You can find it on the 525 Records YouTube channel. There's a music video for that song that is pretty awesome, if I don't say so myself. But yeah, that's a recent Les Cash song featuring Seth Gibson on the bass guitar.
I remember when Mark sent me that track, I was in the airport, and we were flying back from North Carolina. I think we were on a layover, and I was like, damn, this song is good. And actually, Mark laid down the bass track first, and then I tried to play whatever he was laying down. It's probably different by now, but
it just goes to show you, every once in a while, Mark Breitenbach hits one out of the park. And that song to me is a real home run. That and Ghost. Probably.
I feel like we all just got super drunk.
I was really hoping John would carry this podcast.
I know, right? I feel like we aren't including, like...
Sorry, everybody.
I felt like John was going to just
been on his phone the whole night.
No, I just feel like you guys have more insight into the songwriting and creative end of it. I'm happy to let you go on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you... I don't think I've... I think when Les Cash started, Les Cash was very much John. I didn't have drum parts. Like, I didn't try to write drum parts back then, but these new songs, I did try to write drum parts for them, and it wasn't always. A lot of the times, I don't think John ever heard the original things that I had done, so it was nice, a fresh ear, and coming at it without having that was like, oh, that's much better than what I did. But other times I was like, oh, I kind of want to hear this thing happen.
The one thing you can never do is micromanage John's drumming.
No. I don't think.
No, I'm happy to have that. If a songwriter has something in mind, I'm happy to play their part. They have especially someone like you, Elliot, or you, Mark, where you can play the drums yourself and you can lay them down. I'm happy to pick those parts right up. It makes my job super easy, and it lets me know that it's your vision. It's that I'm not just shooting randomly around this song that you've written. You know, it gives you a real focus of where I know you want it to be.
But as a drummer, when a songwriter comes to you and he goes, "Oh, here's what I'm thinking for this song," it's a boom, 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 boom. I mean, and
I'm so mad just listening to you.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just you; it's every drummer.
No, so going back to originally writing with Mark and Les Cash was working with Alpha, and again we were doing Rasmussen at the time, which was like freaking homework. It's like, ugh, these songs are exhausting. They're huge. There's a lot of math involved.
You guys played them over and over and over and over.
Yeah. It was discipline and you know, work. Ugh. And then Mark would come over, we'd do Les Cash songs. It's this Americana 4 straight stuff, and it's super fun to play, super fun to listen to. You know, it's something I'd be more likely to listen to than a Rasmussen song, and me and Alpha can effortlessly write behind Mark. So it was super easy for us to just be like, Mark, that sounds good. Here's what me and Alpha are going to do back here is, you know, we can bounce right off of each other. We have no problem laying down a rhythm track. Alpha's a skilled guitar player. She can just grab a bass and go at it and find something pretty easily. Me and her had written for years, and I can hold my own on the drums, so that naturally falls into place. That's super easy. I again don't mind a songwriter that has a specific vision. I'll eat it right up. And Mark is really forward about it. If he hears that I'm steering into something and it needs to be cut time, double time, or any of that, easy to adjust. And I can always find a feel. If he wants to play something slower than I want to play it, I can find a feel that works with that. I can stay on the front side of the beat. I can still have fun with a slower song. Doesn't bother me. It's more about that makes my job super easy. That there's already a framework there. And I know that I'm fulfilling the vision of the songwriter right off the bat. There's no question about it. It's like, am I anywhere close to what you want to hear? I don't know. I don't like shooting blind. That's one that really bugs me, is unless it's a purely like a writing endeavor. It's not. I mean, Mark comes with written songs. It's not much of a collaborative. It's like he has a written song, he has something in mind. He even probably has a recording with him playing drums and bass on it. So it's easy to just jump in, take that vision, elaborate on it, a break here, a little fill there, and my job is done. Super easy.
John, what are you drinking? Is that colon blow?
Some not so light roast.
The not so light colon blow.
Do you remember the greatest SNL skit ever written called Colon Blow?
No, it's called Super Happy Fun Ball.
Pretty sure that's the
Do not taunt Super Happy Fun Ball.
But the second best, that was called Colon Blow.
I think the second best.
Sure.
Oh boy.
Haven't you heard? Fiber is really good for you.
Well, there's fiber, and then there's high fiber. Try this.
Phil Hartman, what a fucking treasure.
Absolutely.
Colon blow. Sounds delicious. But is it really higher in fiber than my oat bran cereal?
Take a guess. How many bowls of your oat bran cereal would it take to equal the fiber content of one bowl of Colon Blow?
2.
Guess again.
3.
A little higher.
4.
Keep trying.
5.
No, you'll have to do better than that.
7.
Guess again.
8.
We'll give you one more guess.
9.
Not even close. It would take over 30,000 bowls. That much oat bran. You'd have to eat 10 bowls a day every day for 8.5 years.
Wow! I think I get the picture. Colon Blow must be the highest fiber cereal on the market.
Not anymore. Now that there's new Super Colon Blow.
Super Colon Blow?
It would take over 2.5 million bowls of your oat bran cereal to equal the fiber content of one bowl of Super Colon Blow.
I'm convinced.
Colon Blow and you in the morning.
Colon Blow and new Super Colon Blow.
Warning, may cause abdominal distension. Consult a physician.
I was going to say...
Super Colon Blow.
Number 2 would be Oops, I Crap My Pants adult diapers. With Oops, I Crap My Pants, I finally have my dignity back. How do you know so much about Oops, I Crap My Pants? Because I'm wearing them, and I just did. Oops, I Crap My Pants adult diapers. Good. Oh, Lord.
But Colon Blow, that is a
Super Colon Blow. Super Colon Blow.
How long they drag that on? 7? 8?
8?
9?
Guess again.
One. We'll give you one
He just
more guess.
blew right past 6 like, this is getting ridiculous.
This is one. And then it all just looks like it's... Yeah, that's great.
Mom, what do you say to a game of tennis?
Come on, Grandma. With you on our side, the boys don't stand a chance.
Okay, I'll get my racket. On second thought, I think I better sit this one out.
You kids go ahead. I want to have a talk with your old grandma. You're still having control problems, aren't you?
I just don't feel confident, Harvey.
Come with me. I want to let you in on a little secret. Here we are. It's Oops, I Crap My Pants.
Oops, I crap my pants. I've heard of those. Do they work?
Oops, I Crap My Pants outperformed every bladder and bowel control product on the market today. Here, let me show you. Now imagine this pitcher of iced tea is really a gallon of your feces. Now see how its super thick fluff filter allows for maximum absorbency without leaking.
I'm impressed. Oops, I crap my pants can hold a lot of dung.
And get this. Oops, I Crap My Pants are biodegradable. Now that's good for the environment.
Hey, how do you know so much about Oops, I crap my pants?
I'm wearing them, and I just did.
Thanks, Oops, I crap my pants.
Visit your local pharmacist and just say, Oops, I crap my pants from Procter & Gamble.
John, how do you know so much about Oops, I Crap My Pants?
Because I'm wearing them, and I just did.
Phil Hartman was a fucking genius.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I was going to say number 3 on that list is any of the caveman lawyer skits. Ooh, I'm just a primitive caveman. I don't understand your crazy flying machine. Give me another drink.
He's going to keep looking these up as you keep naming this shit off.
The Toonsinator. Where the Terminator is with Toonsis the driving cat, and the cat's driving so crazy that Phil Hartman's playing the Terminator, and he's like, I'm scared. Toonsis is so crazy of a driver, of a cat that drives a car, that he's scaring Phil Hartman as the Terminator. Holy shit. I'm scared.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
Fucking Toonses.
This is the cat who could drive a car.
Driving cat.
It always ended the same.
This is the driving cat. The cat who drive a car. He drives around all over the town. Toonses, the driving cat.
Toonses, the cat who could drive a car.
Very well.
Honey, you won't believe it. Toonses can drive a car.
Toonses are a cat?
Yeah, come on, I'll show you.
What a perfect day for a drive.
Isn't that pretty?
It's a fantastic day.
Yeah.
See, I told you he could drive.
Toonses, look out! I thought you said he could drive.
Well, I thought he could. I saw him up there fooling around with the steering wheel, and I guess I just assumed he could drive.
It's okay, honey. Anybody would think that.
Hey, look! He's driving away.
I guess he can drive.
Yeah, just not very well.
He drives around all over the town. Toonses, the driving cat.
Next on Toonses, the cat who could drive a car. The driving test.
Do you think Toonses will pass his driving test?
I don't know. That written part is pretty hard. And he can't even read.
Maybe he'll make up for it on the driving part.
Damn, I wish I could help him.
All right, sir, if you'll just go ahead and pull out into traffic.
Look out!
Toonses, the driving. How does he reach the pedals?
How does he reach the pedals?
That's what everybody wants to know.
Can we hear another Les Cash song?
Oh. Or go out
Come
on
on.
a Les Cash song, possibly.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would Joe Biden want?
Right. I mean,
come on, man.
I think he'd want to hear more Les Cash.
Or just somebody hosting the podcast.
Hey.
Come on, man.
As opposed to the band members interviewing each other.
Come on, man.
Oh boy.
Starting it now. No, it's going off. We can get into it. This is how it started.
I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Yeah. Elliot lost his bet, so he's a little upset.
It's not over yet.
No, he still has a chance.
Ask more questions, Elliot. Play more music.
Well, my favorite Les Cash song, maybe ever, is a song called Slow Jam 98.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
It's a real fucking downer, but...
I'm worried about what version you might have.
All right.
Well, there's only one version.
Yikes.
The version I recorded.
At Sam's house?
Sam.
Is this Sam Densmore's recording?
No.
We have another version of this one.
Yeah, well, that version's fucking bullshit.
Sam Densmore.
Yeah, we played
Talking to your mics.
We played a show. Les Cash played a show down Sam Densmore's basement.
Oh, I thought you meant like
it's
his
the one-
studio or the studio.
I think that's the one. Isn't that the one where Mike jumped over the fence and?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't really make it over the fence, right? But he attempted to jump a fence, and he ended up slashing his hand wide open. I think I bet him like $10 that he could jump over this fence.
He
in
let
the
a
garden.
bunch of children get in on a bet that he couldn't jump over the fence.
Yeah, that's what it was.
These kids were ruthless.
Yeah, and then he went to, and he couldn't. He didn't jump over the fence.
Yeah.
But he also had to go to the emergency room.
He did make it over the fence, but he broke the fence and he went to the emergency room.
The fence was broken. I remember Sam coming up. What the fuck is going on in my backyard?
It was his kids that were egging him on.
It was his kids.
So I blame Sam.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah, Densmore. If you're listening to this, Sam Densmore, your kids caused Mike to break your fence. Don't blame Mike, please. Or your kids, for that matter. They were just being kids also. It's really nobody's fault.
Densmore was pretty fucking cool.
Remember when we used to play shows with Silverhawk all the time?
Yeah. Well, that's,
John,
you know.
Densmore, Sam Densmore. It's a good band.
I just remember Densmore was bartending at the Ferk, and me and John played a show there, Lips of Touch Whiskey.
Yeah.
And then after the show, we were drinking a beer, and I was like, bro, will you play bass in Lips of Touch Whiskey? And he's like, man,
no.
I just don't have any time, and I don't have any time for another musical project. And then like the next week,
that was right. That's right. That was the half band, not you.
You guys started a new band.
Yeah, so there was Rasmussen, Les Cash, and John Densmore.
Right.
John Densmore experience.
Yeah. But he had the best fucking guitar amp. It was a PV Delta Blues 40-watt combo amp. That amp was fucking choice. He left it at the house, and
I remember it there.
I used to rock the motherfucking shit out of that amp playing with John. It fed back so well. It's one of the greatest amps. If I ever see another PV Delta Blues combo amp, I'm fucking grabbing it, bro, because the gain stage is so nice, and it feeds back like such a fucking champ. I wish I could find one, man. But then, you know, when he moved or whatever, he took his amp and that was it. Yeah, I couldn't use it anymore.
It was like the flip top, or was that the bass amp?
It was like a tweed.
That was the Ampeg flip. Like
I still can't believe we left that Marshall, that stack there at the house, the 525.
Dude,
house.
So much gear got left behind.
There.
It was.
It's just, what do you do? Do you rent?
No, I know.
You rent a space to maybe hopefully use it one day, or sell it for the price.
Yes,
and lose money on the on a storage space.
This was before Seth moved back to Portland.
So we had so
Mark had a basement.
Well, I don't know why that didn't work out. I don't know what that.
I went over there with a friend of mine. She wanted to try to sell some of it, and she started making calls, and there was no money to be made off of it, and there was a lot of storage involved and a lot of moving stuff involved that needed to happen in like a 24-hour period.
Yeah, it was the under the gun factor.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, what would you know about it?
Hey.
Because he wasn't here? Is that why?
No, we can't talk about it because this could be incriminating.
Oh.
Well, you can look forward to a full-length documentary entitled Last Days of 525. It's all cell phone footage.
All the behind-the-scenes scoop.
It should be dropping any day now. A lot of scenes with John. It's basically, we should really rename the movie Me and John Get Tacos, because that's pretty much the entire movie. It's
You got me with the title. I like it.
Me and John getting tacos.
I like it.
And John is famously quoted in that documentary, "You have no idea how an organic interview should start." And that's the opening scene, is me and John getting breakfast. I think it's pretty good, but I can't wait. Look for it to drop, 525records.com on the YouTube channel. Last Days of 525, the story of the last days.
Don't forget to sign up for the 525 Patreon.
Yes.
Check out the merch department.
Wait, is this the end?
Well, you know, you should really...
Let's Cash Scenery. Also to drop maybe one day, hopefully.
Fuck Less Cash. There's a ton of 525 merch available on 525.com. Most notably...
We're really happy with our label.
The Dead Kennedys
525 really
retro
supports
sticker
us through everything.
Recently, we renovated the Dead Kennedys Class 4
I really like that they don't rip off.
No one knows
other
about
bands.
that.
They are selling like hotcakes. Get them before they're gone. We've only got a few left, folks. 525records.com. Dead Kennedys.
I think there's a bunch at my house.
What are you charging for
under
those?
some notebooks?
$1 a
somewhere.
piece.
Okay, get a hold of me directly.
By the way,
I
if
will
you
sell
want
them
to
to you
go
for 75 cents.
If you want to go to a real website, check out lesscashmusic.com.
Lesscashmusic.com is pretty pretty good. Also, don't forget the Less Cash page on 525records.com. In fact, we have a ton of Less Cash music available for free. One of those songs is called Slow Jam 98. It's one of my favorite jams.
But before we go to that, we should also say Mark Breitenbach Music, Facebook is another place to find more music. At.
Also, don't forget the 525 Records Instagram, Twitter, at 525 Records.
And the Smokes and Blue Skies for Black Hearts.
Pat, what up, dude?
Senators.com, Bird Politics, 525 Blows, Chunks.
This is one of my favorite Less Cash songs ever.
That's perfect.
Recorded live at 525 Studios.
That's not,
2013. Thanks for listening. The 525 Records podcast. Les Cash music. For all your Les Cash needs. LesCashMusic.com. Les Cash Bandcamp. It's been my pleasure having Les Cash on the podcast today. Thank you, guys. It's been amazing.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you. It's fun.
Thanks, Adrian.
Stay tuned to 525 Records for any new Les Cash updates. I'm sure they're going to have a new record dropping in a minute now.
It came out yesterday. You guys missed it.
Yesterday?
Yeah, you guys missed it. Come and gone. It's all news.
You can always listen to Les Cash for free on 525records.com. Don't forget to check out their Bandcamp site.
Call us. We will play for you for free also. Over the phone, if you'd like.
Les Cash is Mark Breitenbach.
It's him.
He's the front man. Lead vocals and guitar.
He couldn't be with us today, but we'd like to thank a stand-in.
On the drums is John Rasmussen. Johnny Dynamite, they call him.
Man of a few words.
No one's ever said that before.
No, that was the first I've heard that.
And holding down the bass, Mr. Seth Gibson. Mr. Fantastic.
Seth Sledge Fingers Gibson. That's what they call me. So I've been told.
Those sons of bitches.
Sledge Fingers?
I'll take care of those guys.
Sledge Fingers.
Don't worry, we won't have to call you that anymore.
Sludge Fingers?
We'll stop them.
Wait, sludge or sledge?
It's like a Slurpee.
Like a sledgehammer.
It's like a Slurpee, but opposite.
Sludge? Slurge fingers.
A podcast for the ages.
That's right.
Les Cash, thank you so much.
Thank
you, Elliot.
Thanks for listening. 525records.com. We'll see you later. Peace.
Who's this?